Before we arrive at the last part of tonight's event, I'd like to reiterate that this event is two-pronged. On one hand is the conference, and the other is a fundraiser for the folk artists of Karnataka. It's a well-known fact that Guru Maya Rao and her husband M.S. Natarajan held very close to their heart the cause, the art and the livelihoods of the folk artists of India. Both of them worked extensively with folk, operatic and ritual artists of Karnataka to help rejuvenate their art and to keep their legacy alive. And given the circumstance, the present scenario, our folk performers are like daily wage workers, like we artists are. They perform and then they earn their livelihood and can go buy the ration for the family. As you know, the whole ritual of gathering is prohibited for the moment as we combat COVID together. We have joined hands with a wonderful researcher, dancer, Sneha Kapparna, who also comes from a family engaged for several decades with folk performers. Sneha has helped us identify families and about 100-odd artists who are in dire need of funds. Time and again you will see a link that is going to take you to a fundraiser to help these artists for the next few months before they can start performing again. Please contribute, no amount is small, and do pass the word about this COVID fundraising for folk artists of Karnataka. And without taking any more of your time, I'd like to introduce you to Sneha Kapparna. Sneha is a Bharatanatyam dancer, a choreographer, educator, and also a researcher who is very passionately involved with the folk artists of Karnataka. She has transferred several of these choreographies on urban dancers in order to create perpetuity for the forms. And more, which you will see in this film where she speaks about her passion and shares with us the lives and the art of the folk and ritualistic performers of Karnataka.
Namaskara. I'm very honored to be part of this digital conference being hosted by Natya and STEM Company. I'd like to talk to all of you about the folk, traditional and ritualistic art forms from Karnataka. The moment I hear the word folk, the first thing that comes to my mind is a Kannada word called Thai Beiru. Thai Beiru literally means the mother root. Folk is definitely the root for all folk and art forms that we see today. It is an unbroken chain, the crucial link, or in fact a living chronicle of mankind or the human psyche. When we look at internationally and try to understand folk, they define it in very simple terms. They call folk as something that is social, recreational or even non-professional, and other parameters that they do add is something that uses vernacular language and regional music. But the moment we start moving towards the Orient and more towards India, the definition of folk gets a little too complicated. It is a myriad ethnocentric complexities all put together. When we say folk, there comes with it a big gamut of history, customs, beliefs, rituals. Everything comes into being. Caste, customs, which are all part and parcel of the Indian, beautiful Indian psyche. It is all part of the beautiful Indian cultural psyche, I would say. Along with it, there are the innumerable costumes, colors, language, instruments, and varieties in choreography, step, language, so much of accents, and each tribe having its own defined cultural scenario. The geographical barriers that we see today were very different hundreds and thousands of years ago. So there is a lot of cross exchange or cross cultural carryover that we see. And it's so beautiful to see folk forms that have taken and given from other parts of the country too. When we start looking at Karnataka more closely, we can look and understand Karnataka by looking at it in 4 different sections. To the top we have Uttar Karnataka. This Uttar Karnataka belt is a very dry land. But from this dry land we have the very robust people, the very young, and I would say very energetic and loud people, if I can say so. And then we move to the coastal Karnataka called as the Karavali region. And in this Karavali region we have a more of a classically tuned, or people who are educated, who are more into literature. And then we come to Malenadu, or the great Western Ghats section. And in this section, because it is so thick of forest, we see the most variety of folk forms of Karnataka. In fact, we see a lot of folk forms that are influenced by tantric practice, occult practice happening here in this Malenadu region. Then we come to Bailseeme, or the plains, the plateau area. And here it is very flat land. So the forms that have come from here always have exaggerated properties, they don't want to keep a small thing on their head. They would go for a enormous thing, that weighs 25 kgs and more than 5 feet to be balanced on their head. A mask will not be a simple mask that just fits their face. It's going to be a big, enormous mask that has to weigh more than 8 kgs and extend up to 3 to 4 feet, like the Somana Kunita. These beautiful forms have taken from each of this region, and these regions were of course affected by the different kings who ruled in the past, the different sampradaya and parampara that was coming because of the river culture, we call it, because of the rivers that was influencing the growth of all of these people. When we look at Karnataka and try to figure out how many forms we have, the number itself is very mind-boggling. According to Professor Borlingaya, who is the former Vice Chancellor of Hampi University, who has been one of the first scholars to work extensively in folk and documented, there are over 190 forms. And let me tell you, when we travel across India, people hardly know 1 or 2 forms from Karnataka, which is very surprising and tells so much about the awareness that needs to be created about folk forms from our very own Karnataka. And when we talk about folk, there are several verticals to folk. There are the folk songs, there's the folk dance, there's the folk theatre, folk puppetry. These all come under the performing scenario, whereas there are so many other things like folk games, folk rituals, folk stories, folk epics. Those are all also part of the umbrella term that we term as folk. Now when we look at just folk music, folk dance and folk theatre, innumerable forms. Let me just tell a word or two about few so you can get an idea. When we talk about folk theatre, Shri Krishna Parijata, Radhanat, Doddata, Bailata, Sannata, these are all the different traditional folk theatres that we have in Karnataka. This was the precursor to the other forms that are gaining more popularity today, whether it is Yakshagana or even this is something that developed into Ramanat and Krishnanat and became Kathakali. These particular folk forms, folk theatre forms are alive even to this day. The plays are done overnight. The artist, which is very shocking to share with all of you, are uneducated in the modern sense of the word, but they can recite the entire act that happens over a night without blinking an eye. They are so well versed in what they are doing. When we look at folk music, some of the rare forms that we have from here are Neelgaru, Geegi Pada, Chaudke Mela, which are all so beautiful. Karadi Manchlu, Gondaligaru, Chittu Mela, each unique in its own form, style and content, now coming from different districts and regions of Karnataka. Some of the forms that we are all trying to help out through this COVID crisis fall into this folk music category. For example, the Chittu Mela. The Chittu Mela is the folk orchestra. They are a group of 7 men in which the lead is a Shahnai. And when he plays, the rest of them play their drums and move around like small butterflies. That is why it is also called as Chitte Meda. When we come to folk dances, it is just one of the wonders, I can tell you, of India, that we have so much culture and so much variety. And in Karnataka, folk dances are brilliant because they are very exotic too. When we talk about percussion based arts, there is the Dollu Kunita, which is now picked up and become very popular. There is the Jaggalige. Jaggalige is one of the other troops that we are trying to reach out. Halgi means Halge or Halgi means big percussion instruments. These percussion instruments are like enormous. They are about 5 feet and they have to roll it on the streets while playing it. That is why it's called as Jaggalige, the huge percussion instruments. They play it in group of 20-30 men. You can only imagine the sound that resonates from it. There's the Patadu Kunita, which is the huge poles that are carried by men. They were like the lanchanas, like before the deity is taken out in a procession. These were all street forms or street fair based forms wherein they would herald the god that is about to come. They would perform with these long bamboo sticks going over 10 to 15 feet height, posted in a pouch, while all the time, swinging their towels and never missing a beat. Then there is the beautiful Kamsale, which is a martial art from Karnataka. Puja Kunita, Somana Kunita. We have so many forms. Coming back to what we are trying to do at this conference, I would like to say a few words about the artists that we are reaching out to. Out of the innumerable 190 forms, we worked and selected about 10 different families, and I would like to say a word about these particular forms that we have picked up. One of them is the Lambani Nritya. The Lambanis are the gypsies. So when you listen to the language, you can see a total Mishrana, that is, you have little bit of Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, Gujarati, Marwadi, all mixed into it. So you feel like you know something, but it's not that, That just shows their gypsy nature. They move from one place to another. So there's a whole group and tribe that has settled down in Karnataka, and the Lambanis have become part of Karnataka's heritage. This is one troop that we are reaching out to. The other one is Chaudike Meda. Chaudike is a unique instrument of Karnataka. It's a stringed instrument based out of a ektara that is very unique to Karnataka. The Chaudike and the Jokti Nritya are both closely related. They're all done by devotees of Yellamma. Yellamma is one of the deities that is worshipped in Karnataka. The story of how Parashurama beheaded, we're all familiar with that, but that led to this Jokti Rata, which is performed by the third gender, which is again something very unique, that very few forms that we can say so in the entire country. So we have 2 or 3 families that we have identified for performing and learning this form. And then we have Goruvara Kunita. Now this Goruvara Kunita is a has a very beautiful story behind it, about how Shiva came in the form of Gorvaya and then tried to win the heart of Tuppada Mallamma. So for this, he is the local shaman, who can predict and take away your bad dreams. Apart from that, we have also a Togul Bombay artist with us. Togul Bombay is leather puppetry. Initially, this whole group used to work with the skin of certain animals. Now that the skin is being banned, they are not able to produce these particular kind of puppetry. The alternative skin that has been given to them is not as effective as the one they have. The folk artists are suffering the most. First of all, there has been no funds, and they're always treated as second grade artisans and always kept at the steps and outside the male cultural events. Most of these folk dances come from marginal society. They come from completely unorthodox way of learning, but their knowledge should not be questioned. their access to the art has only been through oral tradition. So it's very important and crucial to keep up these families, to keep them safe. Due to the COVID crisis now, several of these families are having the worst of times. With this economic meltdown, we really don't know how far they'll be able to recover. And if one generation of folk artists are wiped out, probably we'll never be able to revive this, because there has been very less documentation or research work done on them. It's a very crucial time, like how we keep talking about saving our natural resources. This is something that we all need to reach out to. A great initiative that has been taken by Madhu Nataraj and her team. It's a crucial time to save our cultural heritage. I request all of you to please donate for this cause and help us reach out to these authentic families. Namaskar.
And that brings us to the end of day 1 of the Dr. Maya Rao Kathak and Choreography Conference. I'd like to tell you that tomorrow also we have a wonderful lineup of artists, of panel discussions and presentations. Tomorrow is special for us because it's also Dr. Maya Rao's birthday. Had she been with us in her physical form, she would be 92 years old. Tomorrow we have a panel discussion moderated by Dr. Anita Ratnam featuring Rajiv Menon, Sridevi Deshpande and Shiva Natarajan. We also have a presentation by Sandhya Mendonça and a film by Syed Salahuddin Pasha. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us, and we hope you will join us tomorrow with some more family and friends as we journey through the Dr. Maya Rao Kathak and Choreography Conference 2020 in its digital avatar. Thank you and namaskar.
Dig, 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 dig